Hi there. My name is Scott Marker, and I'm a franchise owner of a Network in Action franchise, which is out of Houston, Texas. I'm the first one here in the Treasure Valley. I run a once a month professional, actually, I have three groups, professional networking group as local, high caliber business owners and decision makers. And so I came up with this Treasure Valley Quick Tips on bringing in local Treasure Valley, Idaho experts in their field and just trying to pass on some gems that might be able to help out some of the listeners. So today we have Tom. So Tom, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tom, and thank you so much for reaching out and setting this up.
Yeah.
I work with Fulcrum Home Loans out here in Eagle, Idaho, and we specialize in just about any type of home mortgage that anyone can think of.
Oh, so right now, yeah, because we live here, but we know that it's a little bit interesting right now. the times are, I mean, the inventory is like, real quick, like how's the inventory right now on homes?
It's crazy to say the least. I mean, we've got, tons of families from, different states that are struggling in different areas that are trying to get out here. And we've got more of them coming in than we have houses to sell. And it's put a strain on inventory, but it also has made the market really competitive. And so there's lots of room to grow and still find your dream home.
Awesome. So I know you because for me, my buying my first house, actually built it 25 years ago. I mean, it's like, that's a big dream for me, So you dealing with all these different people coming in here local, is there any stories or a story that stands out with you that you've, that's unique or just that stands out that you've helped somebody get a house?
Yeah, there's a couple that come to mind, but, probably the one that was most rewarding for me was, he was a police officer in California, and he wanted to, relocate, and he was working with it was a new build, a new construction home, and he was working with a different lender, and for about 6 months. And when they were getting to the 30-day mark, and that in our industry, that's when we can start, getting things underwritten and locking rates and all that stuff. They came to him and they said that, the deal that we had talked about is not going to work. We're going to need 5% more down. And, it was a bigger home. And so 5%, wasn't cheap. And so He was basically scrambling because at that point, he was going to lose the home that him and his wife were building. And so he was stressed, and, buying a home, they already say, is the most stressful, process.
Oh, so. It is, at least for me. And I totally agree with that, because it was almost stressful times in my life, because I didn't have someone I really didn't have a support structure back in the day. And it was stressful.
So we had a mutual friend in common who I helped him with his home buying process on the mortgage side. And so he said, hey, give Tom a call. And so we spoke, and, in about 15 minutes or so, I was able to find a solution to where, he was able to keep the amount that he was planning on putting down and still structuring the loan in such a way that he was able to get the deal that he thought he was getting for the last 6 months. And so we were able to get everything turned in, underwritten, finalized within that 30-day time frame. And he went from completely stressed and not, thinking that everything was going to fall through, right. And he was going to be on the hook for his, deposits and all that stuff. And we kind of, so to speak, came in and saved the deal and got it done. And so we've actually, I've become friends with him and his family a little bit, and I'm helping out his parents now that they're moving out here. So it was just super rewarding because, it was a tough process, and you were able to do what was right for him and his family, and kind of take on the burden of the stress for him and get rid of it. So it was very rewarding.
Yeah, that's awesome. That must be rewarding, because, like I said, especially because he's moving here, which is additional stressful because. Right. You're moving to a new place and you've got all that going on. So no, that's awesome, man. Good for you. Yeah. But I know you for a little bit now, but I've heard kind of, you've done that more than once. He just stands out because he's a police officer coming from another state. But yeah, I've heard that about you, that you're everyone can be a lender, but what's the difference? Well, the difference is when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the simple deals are, anyone can do. And I'm sure there's others that are out there that could have helped, but it's the hard ones. It's the unique ones. That's how you build, relationships. And, I think he'll be a client for life. And so that was why it was so rewarding.
That's awesome. Well, that kind of leads into my next question, which is, and so that's one thing that is a difference with you, but because there's a lot of mortgage brokers out there, right? Mm-hmm. And so what makes you and your company like unique versus other ones?
Yeah. So being a mortgage broker, our company, we have access to a variety of products. So we've got access to products that allow for, jumbo loans for, those loans that kind of go above the conforming limits. We have loans that, allow for first-time home buyers to get as little as like 3% down. There's FHA products. We have for families that fit a certain income requirement, we could even do a 0% down loan. And so the unique thing about our company is we've got access to so many different products. So we constantly get referrals because whoever, the big banks or whoever they were dealing with are kind of structured where there's only there's a limitation on what they can do. Right. And we're kind of able to work around some of those traditional issues and find solutions. And so I think that, and we have extremely quick turn times for where we are in the industry. We're getting loans done in 22 to 30 days.
Wow, that's good.
That kind of sets us apart from a lot of the companies who are struggling getting things done on time.
Yeah, I that's one thing that you'd mentioned. I heard you mention at a meeting that and it was kind of like a ding moment for me is that you had mentioned that because you go, nothing against it, but you go to maybe a traditional big bank or something, and they have a certain box of people are going to let in where you can kind of shop around, right? Because everyone has unique circumstances. So you have different lenders to go to, right?
Yeah, so I can take your credit score, how much you have to put down. I can take all that information, your pay, your job history, and I can find different investors, different lenders that are willing to work with things. So some lenders, they prefer, safer, more money down assets, and they can move really quick. But at the same time, we have people who are, struggling to keep up with the rising rents in the Treasure Valley, and they'd rather just own a home, but they maybe didn't have as much money saved to put a down payment down as they were hoping. Right. So we have, lenders that can work with that too. So we, that's some of the 0 down, 3% down. Okay. So we have a wide variety that each different scenario, because one thing I've learned is that every mortgage, every scenario is different, and there's going to be complexities even with the ones that seem so simple. So being able to shop around and find them the best rate and the best deal based on their scenario is super helpful, because they always leave feeling like, okay, I went the extra mile to find this company. It wasn't just a one-stop shop, and then we made whatever issues they were working through, we were able to make it work.
That's awesome. And then like you said, all these different scenarios. Like me, my whole life I was a W-2 employee, and then to the end of 2018 I become self-employed, right? So, so I'm sure that's another thing to think about.
That's a whole nother conversation. I'll just say, everyone's got a good CPA, but when it comes time to buy a home, make sure you pay your taxes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, hey, what's a good referral look like for you? When someone sends you a referral, what's a good referral?
Yeah, the best referral is, someone who's W-2 and employee who gets a strong, consistent paycheck, and they've kind of got
good credit score.
They've got a good credit score, got all their
lots of money in the bank.
That makes my job easy, and we can get those things done super fast. Yeah. But I think it goes back to being a broker and having different options. I love working with first-time home buyers or people who haven't bought a home in a long time and have questions about, how much the market's changed since 2008, since, 1993, whatever, major big change since COVID, has taken over. So, I really, there's not a perfect referral. What would be the W-2 simple referral. But I truly enjoy helping people. I enjoy taking their dream and helping them realize it and having it come to fruition. So, I don't mind taking someone who maybe has tons of questions and has, some issues in the past with finances, but they've been getting on the right path. And I like, setting up a game plan, even if it's like, hey, this is going to take us 6 months to make this work. Let's get everything, going forward in the right direction. And eventually when they're able to get that home or get that refinance, it's super rewarding for both of us.
Right. Perfect. And one thing I was thinking about this before, like what would be an interesting question to a lot of like people listening. And one thing I thought is, I wrote it down, is because it's out, people like me, I'm not near, I'm not in the mortgage industry, right? But for me on the outside looking in here in the Treasure Valley, Idaho, it's like, holy crud. I mean, the rates are crazy low, and staying low. And, but then you hear all the, so is there any new or interesting trends in the mortgage industry, like as a whole? And then also, is it any different from the whole from here in the Treasure Valley?
Yeah, I mean, things have been changing, I guess you could say, rapidly, with uncertainty with, the whole COVID situation, people being able to work remotely that, used to not be able to work remotely. So there's tons of changes. They've made some pretty strong changes in reverse mortgages. And so those are actually where in the past they've had a really bad reputation of, kind of taking advantage of the elderly. There are actually some really strong products that can truly help out, someone who's over 63 who, needs help, with their income, and a reverse mortgage might be the right option. And it's now, something that's beneficial for them. But overall, some of the biggest changes are, in self-employment or commission-based jobs. They're just tricky to qualify. You're going to want to show that you pay, a lot in taxes. They want to see a profit and loss that, is in line with bank statements. So there's just a lot more paperwork there. They've made it to where you used to have some wiggle room with how long you've been employed as self-employed. Now it's 2 years. So there's different changes like that, and it's evolving, kind of constantly. But I think the biggest changes would be, in self-employment, and reverse mortgages, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that too about reverse mortgages. For years, they had a terrible reputation. And again, I don't know, but I just heard people like you that have told me that there's some actually unique ways now that they can benefit people versus, in the past.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because if you bring it up to most people, they just remember, 2008, and there's a sour taste in their mouth immediately. But if you have somebody who's, maybe on Social Security and they make $5,000 a month, but $1,800 of that every month goes towards a mortgage, and you can help them change that to using the equity in their house to offset that. Well, then, now you're, saving $1,800 a month that you can be spending on groceries and things like that. They're non-conforming loans, and so they don't. Any issues that arise from that, they don't pass on to the next generation. And that was part of the issue is, when someone passes on and the house becomes, one of the kids or something like that, they're having issues with it being upside down, and they don't have to worry about that now.
Oh, that's great. That's great. This has been great. Hey, I really appreciate it. What I'll do for you is go ahead and give his phone number, but I'll actually get this done. I put all your information in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Give us your phone number. The best phone number to get a hold of you.
Yeah. So, here at in Idaho, my number is 208-996-6217. That is my cell phone. So I'm, perfectly comfortable answering phone calls on Saturdays and Sundays, because I realize that's when most people have the day off and they can go look for a house. So I'm available.
I'm working during the day.
Yeah. So, my phone is always open.
Okay. Well, perfect. Hey, thank you very much, Tom. Really, really appreciate it. I'm sure it'll be helpful because, like I said, it was confusing to me. So, hey, thanks. And have a great day. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.